you. Duluth has two new names on the ballot this year for running for the City Council District 1 seat.
Tim Meyer and Wendy Derwachter want to represent East Duluth at City Hall.
Northern News Now's Madison Green sat down with both to learn what made them want to run this election.
District 1's current city councilor, Gary Anderson, chose not to run again this year, meaning there are new names in the running to represent Duluth's Woodland, Lakeside, and Lester Park areas. Wendy Derwachter, who raised her two kids as a single mother in Duluth by working multiple jobs, and Tim Meyer, who has a dual background in business and working on public service commissions. Their plans for the future of the now closed Lester Park Golf Course, which is in District 1, differ as much as their backgrounds.
So I'm concerned about if we reopen it, it would be cost prohibitive to the taxpayer. And if somebody has a really great plan, I'm all for it.
The plan includes primarily opening 18 holes of the golf course and then taking the Lake 9 and develop that as housing with the HRA taking the lead in master planning that.
Derwachter volunteered on a recent grassroots campaign, and she said those people encouraged her to run. She believes her work ethic sets her apart from Meyer.
I've been a restaurant worker for 25 years on the service side, and I have been navigating the dynamics of people my whole life in my job.
Meyer ran for an at-large council seat in 2021. After not winning the seat, he originally planned to do so again this year, but saw an opportunity with no incumbent at District 1. He thinks what makes him the better candidate is simple.
It's experience. I've served on 6 different city commissions, and I'm currently serving on a state board. My business and architecture experience that I've been involved kind of on both sides of the table.
Housing and childcare will be both Derwachter's and Meyer's top priorities if elected. In Duluth, Madison Green, Northern News Now.
Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th. City Council, School Board, Mayor, and School District referendums will be on the ballot. Early voting is ongoing at Duluth City Hall. We have details on how to find your polling place at northernnewsnow.com.